Many questions have opened up in Venezuela about its future, following the strongly contested presidential election in which the candidate of the official upper hand won, Nicolás Maduro versus the opposition candidate Enrique Capriles, but only by a 1.5% margin. Surveys had predicted a far clearer victory for Maduro. Venezuelans' divisions appear stark, and with this, so does the uncertainty surrounding what's to come. We're joined from Caracas by Ricardo Rios, a professor of statistics at the University of Venezuela. He is one of the country's most respected political analysts. The difference in the support the candidates got translates to around 235,000 votes, where around 80% of the electorate of some 19 million people took part. Is this enough to legitimize Nicolás Maduro as president? The result surprised everyone. It's very narrow. More than 630,000 votes swung to the candidate of the opposition. This is unknown in our history of electoral procedures, and we have had many. Venezuela's electoral tradition is a long one. This result puts the country at a crossroads for dialogue because the country must get together, faced with two comparable forces. There's no alternative without losing the great wealth that Venezuela has, peace in the form of democratic debate.
Riqueza venezolana que es la paz en el debate democrático.
Yes, but the opposition candidate Enrique Capriles has denounced what he says are irregularities on the day of voting and rejected the results, demanding a complete recount of the ballots by hand. Is there a realistic possibility to appeal through the electoral tribunal and get a recount? It has happened on other occasions. Reviewing electoral results is simple to do. The process is automatic. There's the information from the whole country to do it, all the votes, and we have the technical resources to verify the result. This doesn't seem worrying to me. I believe that if the results have been tampered with, then we need to correct them. Not necessarily because one side or the other interfered, but because they weren't correctly counted. But do you think that the National Electoral Commission will admit that there were errors? Yes, they have already done it several times. It's not a problem of being willing or not. It's a question of applying written laws and rules and the electoral statutes. Reviewing the electoral process is so normal that in the past both candidates have accepted it. The candidate of the opposition asked for it, and the incumbent, who was favored to win according to the result, accepted. I imagine that seems strange if one's not familiar with the electoral process in Venezuela, but going over the process here is not a rare thing. Turning to what this election has brought out into the open, Capriles managed to unite a large number of voters around his candidacy. He gained nearly 700,000 votes compared to the election held in October. Could he become Venezuela's elected president? Yes, I believe so. I believe that we are facing a very close result, and that for the good health and political future of Venezuela, it would be better to clear away any doubts. The mechanism to do that, as I said, is institutionalized, legal, and not out of the ordinary. It's true that it doesn't happen very often. What usually happens is what Capriles did on the 7th of October when he conceded that President Chavez had won by a comfortable margin. This time there were special interventions in several voting stations. There were cases where people were prevented from voting. There were complaints of a lack of impartiality by members of the armed forces, which could alter the result. The campaigning and the closeness of the result show how deeply Venezuelans are divided. How do you see the future? Is a reconciliation possible and necessary? It's inevitable, but the campaigning taught us many things. Among them, that we Venezuelans can be passionate about politics, but not about blocking reconciliation. I've never seen 640,000 voters change position in the space of barely 7 months. What's interesting is that the number of voters did not increase. They're the same as those who elected Chavez president on the 7th of October. This means that there has been an important change of opinion among the electorate that supported Chavez and which has decided to support the candidate Capriles and not to recognize Maduro's leadership. It's clear that there's a schism in society, but there are possibilities for reconciliation. It just has to be done.
Señor Ríos, así lo esperamos. Muchísimas gracias por haber estado con nosotros.
Oh, un placer. Bueno, muchos saludos.